Resources Committee, they learned that just the exploratory drilling itself is it can contain various chemicals that are used to lubricate the drills or to fill the holes that can also introduce some toxicity to the groundwater that's there. So small wonder that people around Wausau, who are already a little frazzled about PFAS being in the well, in all the well water, are now concerned about what a mine could do to the water that's in there as well. It bears repeating that the only reason we are talking about the possibility of an open pit mine in northern Wisconsin is because we no longer have the Prove It law, which said you can have a mine here. All you got to do is show us a mine that's been operating similarly someplace else in the US or Canada, has been now closed for 10 years. And during the time that it was operating and the time that it was closed, it hasn't polluted the water. You prove that, you get the permit. I think you can read between the lines that no, there's been no mine that hasn't polluted the water. So it is the most common sense law we had on the books in Wisconsin until our friend Toxic Tom Tiffany, then state senator, now congressman, worked with newly elected Governor Scott Walker and the Republican-led legislature at the time to ditch the law, to ditch the Prove It law. So it's not there anymore, which has led to, round after round since then, every couple of years or so, of some company coming in saying that, again, just let us drill a few holes. We're going to be awfully careful. And I love what they're doing now for a further excuse for the mining. It's all about the clean economy. It's the way to get us off fossil fuels, they tell us, because after all, we're moving toward a battery-based economy, and you need zinc for that, and you need some of these other metals for it. And on its face, you go, okay, well, I see what you're saying. That does make sense. It has to come from someplace if that's the way you want to go. But is the way you want to go digging a pit in the ground and polluting all the groundwater around there? So you've got, and this was the same thing that was happening a little further north, closer to the Bad River reservation. And those poor folks there, I talked to people up there, connected with the community just this past week, because not only do they now have people saying, well, we have to dig for this so that we can get off of fossil fuels. These are the same folks that have to look at a pipeline, the Enbridge Line 5 pipeline, which is bringing oil and gas right through the reservation, right across the headwaters of the Bad River, and who are saying, whatever permission you got in the late 1950s, that's not permission that you have anymore. We want you out of here. And the company Enbridge is doing everything humanly possible to keep that up, to keep that pipeline flowing. So keep the fossil fuels running through sensitive areas in northern Wisconsin, even as other companies try to get a permit to dig for the minerals they say are going to be needed for the batteries. This all has to do then with, I should say the discussions on this are going to continue in Marathon County. It's far from a done deal yet. But it is the kind of thing that leads to the topic of environmental justice and a new office created for it that we'll talk about at some point down in the future as well. Let's take a break. And thanks again for tuning in. I'm Pat Kreitlow, in for Mike Crute on Devil's Advocates Radio.
I came here for gold, and I'm gonna get it.
And they call it a mine.
I'm gonna dig up what's a gold, V for victory.
Devil Radio has been kicking ass, earning every listener, and providing our sponsors return on investment. 3 years now on the Madison airwaves, and there has never been a better time than right now to advertise with us and join the Devil Radio community. Our audience is loyal and growing every day. Active listeners that don't flip. Wonder if your ad dollars are working? Devil Radio listeners will tell you it works. Ad production is included. Devil Radio will make it easy for you to start seeing return on your investment. Call today.
At Chad's Design Build, we care deeply about the quality of the services that we provide to our clients. An excellent remodeling experience requires communication, honesty, accuracy, and a detailed plan, all of which helps to create a satisfied client. And these commitments spell our name. To learn more about the Chad's remodeling experience, go to chadsdesignbuild.com. Building a better world, one remodeled home at a time, and celebrating 30 years of excellence.
You are listening to WTTN 1580 AM Columbus, W224 EG Madison, always streaming on the Devil Radio app.
EP News, I'm Ed Donahue. The government reports 428,000 jobs were added last month. The unemployment rate remains steady. On Wall Street, stocks were lower. The Dow lost 98 points. Speaking in Cincinnati, Ohio, President Biden says there are ways to boost the economy.
We know that one of the best ways to fight inflation is to bring prices down, is to strengthen the resilience of our supply chains. And that includes making more things here in America at home, from top to bottom.
The president announced 5 major U.S. manufacturers have made commitments to boost their reliance on small and medium American firms for 3D printing. 50 more civilians, including 11 children, were rescued today from the tunnels under a besieged steel plant in Mariupol in Ukraine. New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham says President Biden approved a request to declare a disaster in the state. A wildfire has burned in New Mexico for several weeks across more than 262 square miles, destroying dozens of homes.
We're going to keep at this, and we're going to keep at it until we do everything that's possible to provide the resources and support and to win against this fire by putting it out and preventing other fires for the rest of the summer.
Favorable winds in New Mexico recently helped firefighters, but conditions are expected to worsen over the weekend. Health officials are now looking into more than 100 possible cases of a mysterious and severe liver disease in children, including 5 deaths. About 24 states and Puerto Rico have reported such illnesses to the CDC. The man charged with attacking Dave Chappelle during a performance at the Hollywood Bowl pleaded not guilty in court to 4 misdemeanors. He wore a furry caveman costume on the day of the Capitol riot. Aaron Mostowski was sentenced to 8 months in prison. The judge said Mostowski was literally on the front lines. This is AP News.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If SelectQuote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-597-2010. That's 1-800-597-2010. 1-800-597-2010. Or go to selectquote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
It's spring to...
When you're gonna turn on the radio, you gotta listen to Devil Radio 92.7.
This is Pat Slattery of Slattery's Automotive Service in Verona. Established in 1973, I've been servicing and repairing cars in the Madison community for nearly 50 years. You can trust me to tell you what your car really needs and fix it right the first time. Give me a call at 608-848-6123 to schedule an appointment today. Slattery's Automotive Service, your trusted choice for local service and repairs for all your automotive needs.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, it's Rocker, and I'm lifting off from Sal's Tomato Pies, enjoying a brand new cocktail called the Cosmo Knot. It's an improved take on the classic cocktail with Madison-made Rocker vodka, featuring orange liqueur, house-made citrus cordial, lime, and cranberry. Experience liftoff with the Cosmo Knot, the new cocktail featuring Rocker vodka at Sal's Tomato Pies in Sun Prairie, Madison, and the Dark Horse Art Bar. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
President Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election.
Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes, 51,000 more votes than Trump got.
He exhausted his cases. He exhausted the court challenges.
All the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates. He would have won.
It was not rigged. It was not stolen. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election. It's really clear.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
Like, wow, Scoob, it's Devil Radio. Rebel Radio.
For Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. This week, the Coalition of Wisconsin Organizations, including Black Leaders Organizing for Communities, Voces de la Frontera, and the League of Women Voters of Wisconsin, filed a petition in federal court to dismiss their 2021 lawsuit against the state's past legislative maps. Legal counsel for the coalition, Law Forward, said this was the first step in shifting the legal battle around the new set of legislative maps for the state, selected by the Wisconsin Supreme Court last month. Mel Barnes, one of the lawyers representing the coalition, said any challenges are unlikely to change the maps before the fall 2022 elections, but that does not necessarily mean these maps will stand for the next decade. Cloudy skies are in the forecast today with a slight chance for rain, winds up to 20 miles per hour, and an expected high of 63 degrees. The skies become clear to partly cloudy as the day goes on with an overnight low of 40 degrees. You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Devil Radio programming is produced live in the Solidarity Realty Studios. Find them at solidarityrealty.com. Solidarity Realty. There is an alternative.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. 3, 2, 1. Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
The hell it is. Mike is getting an early start to the weekend. Thank you, Crudy, for the invitation. My name is Pat Kreitlow, founding editor of Up North News, and a radio gas bag from a long, long time back. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to bring the heat again after all these years away from daily radio use. But turns out I got through the first hour relatively unscathed. They again opened up the microphone for this hour. And so, this is just either I'm doing all right with the audition, or Brian is just going to sit on his butt and he didn't feel like talking for the whole hour if I didn't show up. So
no, I have no problem filling the hour. I'm just enjoying, and auditions also, whether good or bad, are always enjoyable to watch, especially when a guy like you is doing it. I'm appreciating it. I'm appreciating it.
Well, thank you so much. There now, it's fishing opener weekend, and folks, that's how you fish for compliments. So I hope that you take a lesson away from that. For those of you who weren't,
you keep asking for him. I got you.
Hey, I know how to bait that hook. Let me tell you, I'm a master at that. For those of you who didn't, hear the previous hour of the program, I won't go through the full introduction again, other than to say that I am very honored to appear on many of these fine radio stations on Wednesday nights on a show called the Up North Podcast. It is not related to Up North News, which is my day job, where I'm the editor. You can find that over at upnorthnewswi.com or Up North News WI on your favorite social media feeds and such. The Up North Podcast is actually the brainchild of one Kirk Bangstead of the Minocqua Brewing Company. So as he was putting a show together and asked if I would help him out with it, and I'm very happy to do that. It's worth every penny that I don't get paid from him for it. So it is truly a labor of love. But when he was looking for show names, I thought, well, if we call it the Up North Podcast and it happens to draw people to Up North News, the similarly named but totally separate product, if I can fool him into doing it, what the heck? And so that's where you might have heard me previously, airing live on Wednesdays at 7, and then it's played back on the weekends. And it's called the Up North Podcast because initially it started out that way. We were just recording a podcast for distribution, and then Krut, to his great dishonor, said, "Hey, you guys want some radio time to do this live?" And, we said, if you're foolish enough to do that, we'll call it the Up North Podcast and Radio Extravaganza. And Evan, who today is not wearing the hoodie and does not appear to be another M&M knockoff, but Evan produces that show rather capably for us, and so it's great to get to work with him at a different hour of the day during business hours. We've always done this after business hours, Wednesday nights at 7. So I was never quite sure if he was really on the payroll or just happened to have a key that he came into the building at nights, but he's here by day, and in the nice palatial studios, because Brian, I think the last time I saw you, not so much Evan, but you, was in the Matchbox studios, in Milwaukee, way back in 2018, when I was accompanying one Dana Walks, candidate for governor, turned now the brand new University of Wisconsin regent. Probably don't even remember that far back, do you?
No, I do. You and I sat there while Dana was talking to Dom and Krut. You and I sat in my little closet there with surrounded by glass, and we bantered a little bit. I had a lot of fun. I really liked Dana.
I really enjoyed that. I had just moved back from 3 years on Grand Cayman, back to Wisconsin, and Dana, who's been a friend for quite some time, an attorney in Eau Claire, said he was planning to run for governor. Would I like to help him out? And so I did a lot of work alongside him.
That was
what's that?
That was your jump back in. Oh my God!
That was my jump back in.
I think I'm going to jump into running a campaign for governor and also talking to the devil's advocates. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah. Well, look, again, I was, there was a lot of sunstroke. I was very tan back then. There was a lot of salt water, between the ears here. So, friend like Dana asks for help. Who am I to say no? So I didn't. So we had a great time. Some of you may remember the 2018 gubernatorial primary. There were, I believe, 47 Democrats that were running at the time.
And that's rounding down.
Yeah. So Dana was one of many, a field from which Tony Evers emerged victorious, and thankfully has been doing some great things compared to what would have happened, had Scott Walker won another term. I mean, again, we were talking about what ifs previously. Imagine not just a Donald Trump presidency, but then with Scott Walker still in the governor's seat. So if you think the past couple of years have been something, imagine what they could have been like. So that was my introduction back moving here, because as Dana knows, and what we haven't talked about yet was, about 15 years ago, I was a member of the Wisconsin legislature after anchoring the news for many years, on Channel 13 in Eau Claire. And I bring up the Wisconsin legislature because on the Up North podcast this week, one of our guests was former state senator Dale Schultz. Dale Schultz probably has had his business cards redone, because he's got to be convinced that his actual full name is Dale Schultz, the last moderate Republican to serve in the Wisconsin legislature. And we had a great visit with him about what has happened to his party, in the years since he was, essentially kind of put on the outs, if you will, compared to the extreme right fringe that had taken over the party. And he was, extremely generous in his comments. And he did so. The comments came, as you know, we can all do this on Zoom now, so we can see you as well as hear you most of the time. And so I could see him sitting in his pickup truck, and the pickup truck was parked right up next to the state capitol. And the reason he was there this week was this week marked the occasional reunion for the state Senate, when state senators, gather together and, swap stories of, days gone by, many of which they don't remember because, the drinks flow rather liberally at it was then the Inn on the Park and Jenna's and some of the other fine establishments in that area.
You guys remember when we used to be in session during this happening? Remember that part? No, we're not in session anymore. Okay. Good.
No. They get paid, for the 2 months that they're in session. And then the 10 months when they're not, they still get paid, which is kind of, well, it's just downright depressing when you think about it. But we used to be in session there and would gather at some of these various water holes. And Dale and I talked about some of the characters that we worked with in the past. And God rest his soul, Mike Ellis was one of them, one-time Republican leader of the state Senate. And I always liked how he was rather forgetful about certain things, like me. And he would, every time I'd see him in one of these watering holes or in the Senate parlor, he'd say, "Tell me again, who is it that you defeated to get here?" And I always have to say, "Senator, it was Dave Zine. I defeated Dave Zine in 2006. And he'd ask me that every time. And I started to think that it wasn't that he was forgetful. I think he actually liked being reminded that I defeated Dave Zine back in the day. But Senator Zine was there at the Senate reunion on Wednesday, rather. I was not. I had just flown back from Texas late the night before, where I was visiting one of my daughters and two of my grandsons. So I was sad not to be able to make it, but it was great to talk to Dale about, Mike Ellis and Dave Zine and some of the other characters. And we got to talking about times when you have to be a maverick within your party, or not a maverick. That's a cliche now, but when do you stand up? Because right now, especially on the right side of the aisle, it seems so robotic. It does not seem that there's much dissension in the ranks. What passes for dissension in the ranks on the Republican side this day is Susan Collins saying, "Well, I'm very concerned that maybe somebody was less than truthful, about Roe v. Wade." And that's what passes for dissension these days. Whereas what Dale and I and others, we had real brawls in those caucus rooms, once upon a time. I remember in 2007, Senate Democrats, we'd written a healthcare reform program. Remember, this is pre-Affordable Care Act. So we were all looking for ways to reform healthcare, and we'd come up with a plan called Healthy Wisconsin, which of course wasn't going to pass because the assembly was controlled by Republicans and we Democrats controlled the Senate. But we wanted to, really make the case that healthcare should be reformed. Well, as we were debating the elements of it, in caucus meetings amongst us Senate Democrats, there were two of us that were, relatively moderate Democrats, you could say, Jim Sullivan from the Milwaukee area. He and I made the case that there should be some co-pays in Healthy Wisconsin, not just because it's not just that some healthcare parts of the healthcare system are underutilized because they're unaffordable, but there are other parts of healthcare that are overutilized when there is no bill. And so even a modest copay would try to ensure that some people did not overuse the system. Well, this got under the skin of one liberal state senator from the Madison area who went on a tirade against me and Jim Sullivan, saying, "You don't understand. Some of us, don't have any money that we can put toward a copay. It's all we can do to make expenses now." And I bring up that story because the reason it made me laugh was this senator who always claimed to not have money always managed to be able to afford cigarettes, because right after that speech, I saw him standing outside the window, and I think he chain smoked an entire pack of cigarettes after giving that speech about why we shouldn't have any kind of a copay on Healthy Wisconsin. So we swapped that story, stories about nonpartisan redistricting. Of course, Dale Schultz, shared some of his stories as well of a time that maybe was not kindler and gentler, but certainly not as cynical and robotic as what we seem to have these days. So here's hoping for better days and some more of those better stories coming from our state capital. I'm Pat Kreitlow, filling in for Mike Crude on Devil's Advocates Radio. We'll be back in a bit.
didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Rumpf. Make it the greatest radio show ever. The Devil's Advocates is my passion. It must be. I've been doing it for a decade. Running two Wisconsin radio stations, providing the only platforms of truth and resistance against fascism in a critical swing state. That's a vital mission and a tremendous responsibility. And it all costs money. So support the mission and the show. Join and give at patreon.com at the Devil's Advocates Radio. Help me change hearts and minds and just maybe save democracy.
President Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election.
Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes, 51,000 more votes than Trump got.
He exhausted his cases. He exhausted the court challenges.
All the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates, and he would have won.
It was not rigged. It was not stolen. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election. It's really clear.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
The Devil's Advocates.
I've been invited on Fox News. I accepted. We're going to take your favorite ideas for burning it down. Alan from Madison, what do you got for us?
At the end of the show, you should tell them you've got a new logo for Fox News. What you do is stand up, drop your drawers, turn around, and Fox is on one cheek, news is on the other. And below it, you have We Fill the Void.
You know, I don't know if I got that kind of courage, Alan, but I love how you think, man.
Follow the Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba,
please be done.
Over and over and over and over and over, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Sounds good, honey.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We strictly do 80s Joel music, sir.
When they go low, we get high. The Devil's Advocates.
I feel especially seen with some of these clips that are being played here about my love of 80s music and playing a clip from Blazing Saddles. I feel like you guys get me. You really get me.
You know, we cater to a special demographic here, Pat.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not really that rare a bunny around here, am I? Pat Kreitlow filling in for Mike Crute on this Friday. It's so great to have you along. And I wanted to start this segment now with a one question pop quiz, Brian. How many cabinet officers of United States presidents have been impeached in the history of this republic? And I'll make it. No, I think you can guess. How many have been impeached? It's a number you would guess.
Zero.
It's not zero. I'll give you that much.
Yeah, I'm going to go with at least two.
Two. Okay. Let's see. Since some people, watch this feed on Chippewa Falls Public Access, well, I'm going to ask Evan as well, just to hold up some fingers. How many cabinet officials have been impeached?
Oh, I feel strongly enough about this. I'm gonna say 7.
7. Oh, that's bold. Okay. The correct answer is 1. 1 cabinet officer in 1876 for bribery, or at least allegations of bribery. I mention this because there is on Capitol Hill a new effort afoot involving the congressman from up north, Tom Tiffany, and some other members of Congress who are seeking to have the Secretary of Homeland Security impeached, Alejandro Mayorkas. And it prompted an Up North News editorial recently where I opened it by stating the obvious, because we've said it before. Congressman Tom Tiffany should have resigned long ago. His latest stunt here only indicates that he continues to be hostile to American democracy. This is a guy who supported a coup that would have installed an unelected authoritarian government if given the chance. That was when he supported a failed Texas lawsuit that actually would have thrown out Wisconsin's vote total. Thankfully, that Texas lawsuit was laughed out of court. This is a congressman who opposed a symbolic resolution to stand with NATO and has taken other votes against Ukraine and with Russia. He claims he's against the invasion, but his votes have always said otherwise. So now we have this latest stunt signing on as a co-sponsor of a resolution to impeach the Secretary of Homeland Security, only because, again, if you can scare people about immigration, something that Ron Johnson is masterful as well, then maybe it will take the attention off of the ways that you are, supporting attacks on democracy. Tiffany was at the southern border last week to make some loud noises about a genuine problem. There is a genuine problem with immigration that can only be fixed through bipartisan and comprehensive immigration reform. The one thing that he and other Republicans say they will never be a part of. They've used it as a convenient talking point. The folly of a massive and wasteful wall is their holy grail. And it is the failure of Secretary Mayorkas to support it that they claim is, reason enough to impeach him. This is not particularly new for new ground for Tiffany. Prior to being in Congress, he was part of the legislature after Governor Evers was elected, a legislature, a Senate group of Republicans that to this day refuses to confirm several of Governor Evers' cabinet heads and other department nominees. It is an unprecedented and now permanent stain in the history books of Wisconsin Republicans. So it's only in character for Tiffany to now want to impeach someone who's in the line of succession to the U.S. presidency, and to do it for partisan purposes rather than any actual crimes like that 1876 crime of bribery. This is extremist behavior. It is again trying to thwart the will of duly elected chief executives, whether governor or president. And in normal times, we would warn Tiffany that this is a dangerous game that he's playing, along with Donald Trump's other sycophants. But it just doesn't seem like it's a game anymore. Crazy as it sounds, these are no longer people that are just trying to make hay out of creating a constitutional crisis. These are folks that actually think that it needs to happen, this constitutional crisis, and they're hoping for just enough public support to give them cover. And so the whole point of our editorial the other day was to say, Congressman, don't go there on trying to impeach a cabinet officer. This country that you profess to love is indeed in trouble, but it's trouble that's caused by your own inability to be a patriot and accept that your party continues to lose nationwide and in statewide races that you can't gerrymander because you've lost your way. Instead of seeking to govern, you're seeking to rule through gerrymandering, through voter obstruction, stoking fear. It's frankly an authoritarian flirtation that needs to end before you and other co-conspirators drag this nation into an even darker place. We've got a little bit of time left. I've been rude enough not to give the phone number, 844-967-2789. And Mark from the SAC is on the line. Hear from Mark in the brief time that we have remaining. Hello, Mark.
Yeah, great to talk to you, and a little break from what I would usually rant about, the Republican corruption. But I mean that.
Well, good. You got. I did most of it, so you got 60 seconds to rant about anything else.
Well, further north than that, I mean, I was all the way up in Douglas County, but I spent some time in Chippewa Falls because I had an aunt that lived there, just a few blocks from the Falls Bait Company, and it was actually, you could just take a little walk and you'd hit some kind of wildy places. I mean, a little woodlot that my cousin used to hunt, and there was a sand pit there that I found some lizards I'd never seen before, because you don't see any lizards further north than that. But I mean, it's a beautiful city, and fished the river there a few times, from the shore, and that's a beautiful country. And but keep up the fight against these nitwits that are like Tom Tiffany. I mean, I actually own property up in that area, and I should just call Tiffany's house. I'm a property owner up there, and I think he's a nitwit.
All right, Mark. Well, I appreciate it. I'm sorry I should have given you more time, but I hope we get to connect again real soon. Thanks again so much for calling. We'll be back with more of the Devil's Advocates after this.
Loud noises! Hey, listen, mother! We only sing 80s dog!
Supplying your political fix in the back roads, WTTN 1580 AM and Wisconsin's home for Devil Radio.
I'm Peter Pekarsky, a U.S. Senate candidate approving this ad paid for by Pekarsky for Wisconsin, asking what kind of world do you want to leave to your children and grandchildren? A world where Ron Johnson uses his Senate vote to change the tax code so another $79 million stays readers instead of paying for Wisconsin schools and roads, or a world where Peter Pekarsky is a U.S. Senator working for all the people of Wisconsin. Tell us what you want at pekarskyforwisconsin.com.
The greatest radio show ever could be your greatest advertising investment ever. Partner with the Devil's Advocates and activate our loyal, educated, and engaged audience today. In-show interviews and sponsored special events considered across Wisconsin. Affordable digital and terrestrial ads available in Chicago and Minneapolis and directly on the Devil Radio app. Make a deal with the Devils and get the Devil's Advocates bump to your bottom line. Call or text 844-967-2789 today.
Shrink. I'm Tim McGuire with an AP News Minute. President Biden, on a trip to Hamilton, Ohio, announces 5 major U.S. manufacturers have made commitments to boost their reliance on small and medium companies for 3D printing. Biden says the agreement will spur further development of U.S. manufacturing.
It matters a great deal because the pandemic and the economic crisis that we inherited and Putin's war in Ukraine have all shown the vulnerability when we become too reliant on things made overseas.
An analysis finds U.S.-based 3D printing technology could produce up to $900 billion in economic value. A judge in Georgia says Republican Congressional Representative Margie Taylor Greene is qualified to run for re-election. The judge ruling voters who challenged her eligibility failed to prove she played a significant role in the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Judge also left a final decision to Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. I'm Tim McGuire.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If SelectQuote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-597-2010. That's 1-800-597-2010. 1-800-597-2010. Or go to selectquote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. Public defenders in Wisconsin say creative solutions will be necessary to get through the 35,000 case backlog, or it will take years to get through with the current personnel levels. Last year, Governor Tony Evers increased the pay for public defenders, but officials in the Office of the Wisconsin State Public Defender say pay is only one factor to recruit new attorneys to the field. In another development proposal for Wilson Street in downtown Madison, a Michigan-based developer would demolish the state of Wisconsin's Investment Board's 2-story building and construct a 14-story mixed-use project with a large outdoor plaza overlooking Lake Monona. This Saturday marks opening day for the game fishing season in Wisconsin, bringing an end to the 2-month hiatus from March to May between the ice fishing and summer seasons. The Milwaukee Bucks host the Boston Celtics for Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinals tomorrow at 2:30. The series is currently tied at 1 game apiece. You're listening to Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
The Devil's Advocates, rock and roll political commentary in a sporty world.
I was trying to figure out how best to underscore what life is like up here on Lake Wissota in Chippewa Falls, and maybe some folks would be like, well, how do we know that? Because you're probably locked in in a studio in your home, and what would really underscore it. I tried earlier with the pint glass here from Line and Kugel Summer Shandy, and I really now wish I would have set up my studio with in the basement bar, because of course this is a northern Wisconsin home. So yes, of course there's a basement bar where there are, I'm not even sure how many of these glasses, but Brian, I figured this would be a good pop quiz. I have glasses for so many Leinenkugel's brands over the years. Of course, Leinie's Light, Summer Shandy here. Honey Vice would be an easy one. You want to take a guess at some of the other Leinie's flavors over the years, the glasses that I have in the basement? Then I'll go take a picture and I'll put it up after the show so you can see it.
Are we looking at a quantity, or are you trying to talk about names?
Just names. If you remember any of the other Leinie's flavors over the years here.
The red. I like drinking the red.
Oh, see, now that was the big one. Is Leinie's Red. That is still my favorite, and I am still pining. Listen to me, Jake. Listen to me, Dick. Listen to me, John. Leinie's brothers. Bring back Leinie's Red. It was my favorite, and I can't believe it's been gone all these years. So thank you you get huge bonus points for mentioning Leinie's Red.
I'm a huge red drinker also, and I got to tell you, there's a lot of craft beer out there. They went all the way to make goes a thing now, and they're making sours now and all this other stuff. But basically, every other craft beer has done everything besides make reds. And Leinie's can go and jump in and pull in the red market. I'm telling you.
Do it, guys. Do it. So let's see. There was Maple Vice. I don't know if there's Honey Vice. I don't know if a lot of people remember Maple Vice. And it was pretty early we moved to Chippewa Falls in 1995 and got to meet the Leinenkugel's boys and some others, including one of their marketing or creative folks or whatever. And at that point, it was shortly after Maple Vice had been discontinued. And I recall my wife saying to one of the people there, yeah, that one, I really did not like the Maple Vice. And the guy was like, yeah, that was my idea. So
I can't get that song stuck out of my head.
Which one's? Oh,
yeah, Edelweiss.
Oh, no. This was Maple Vice, and it did tremendous disservice to the song. Yes. Let's see. I'm trying to now. Some of the newer ones I don't have the glasses for. The Snowdrift Vanilla, the Chocolate Dunkel. I've never been a Bock beer person. They've got a toasted Bock that's out now. But the porters I've enjoyed. I don't know, Brian, if you're already kindred spirits for liking the red, but what are your types that you like?
I like a porter. It's funny because I like a dark beer, but I don't like a stout. And because I like the lightness. Like I like a black lager. I'm a huge fan of Kostritzer by myself, but I like a toasted feel to it, but I also like a lighter taste to it. It's like a session beer type of thing. Although stout itself can be a session beer, and actually a stout is usually around the same caloric intake as a Miller Lite, by the way. But a porter tastes heavy, but drinks light as well. I like those.
Yeah. I found myself surprisingly happy with the Canoe Paddle Kolsch, which I'm probably saying wrong, but a good one. Northwoods Amber, I was so on. But now, of course, I've got to go downstairs and at some point and dust off some of the glasses that have to be brought back up, because why are you buying those glasses if they're just going to sit behind the bar? We haven't had a gathering at our basement bar since I don't know when. Oh my God, it's been so long, and that was even pre-COVID. We're not as fun as we used to be when we were young. Our first
calling.
Yeah, maybe I should just put a date out and put my address out there, and let's just have everybody come on over and let's do this. The first basement party that we ever had to christen our basement bar, I didn't even get to go to. We had planned it. It was going to be for New Year's Eve, whatever year it was, 98, going into 99, I think. I didn't even get to go because a couple of days before that, I was anchoring the news at TV 13. And Bob Gallagher, who was doing the sports at the time and is now the news anchor, Channel 13, says to me, the Badgers are in the Rose Bowl. Do you want to come along with me? We'll cover the Badgers on New Year's Eve, and then we'll fly up to San Francisco, and the Packers playoff game against 49ers is the next day. I'm like, well, sign me up. To this day, I think I still owe my wife a debt for having to do the entire party, and have all those folks over and entertain them and set up and clean up without me. Or maybe it was a better party for my not being there. But the noteworthy punctuation mark on that weekend was not just planning a house party and then missing it, and not going to see the Badgers win the Rose Bowl. But the next day, some of you will remember how that game ended for the Packers. Terrell Owens and the catch right there on the goal line at the end of the game. And I was standing right there on the goal line with the microphone plugged into the back of Bob Gallagher's camera. And Bob was very clear about the instructions here. He's like, we're going to be right here. We're going to see what happens at the end of the game. And then as soon as the game ends, we run to the center of the field so that you can get the microphone in for the little scrum afterwards, where they all shake hands and everything, the coaches shake hands and what have you. And I thought, okay, I can do that. So I'm holding on to the microphone. We're standing at the goal line. Terrell Owens catches the ball. The Packers lose. And I am shocked. I am dumbfounded. And I am yanked out of my pants almost because Bob took off running, but I did not. And so, like a dog on a leash that wasn't expecting it, I'm suddenly stumbling and bumbling around the 10, the 15, the 20. I finally get back on my feet about the 25 and I'm able to then get to the middle of the field. But I was so caught up in being a fan at that moment that I almost missed out on a very important part of my job, which would have really, if I'd have failed Bob and failed my wife for the house party that I didn't get to be a part of, it really would have been a dark weekend. Instead, I've got a great story that I get to share on the radio. Profane Ronnie, it says here, is on the line. So, these are things that I wasn't told about. There was no instruction manual for this. It was turn on a microphone and yodel for a while. So I get a note that says, talk to Profane Ronnie. Hey, good luck with that, Pat. All right, Ronnie. Hello. How are you?
Hi. Good. Hey, I got to get in on this beer talk because I love to drink, but I'm a lightweight. So I always drink light beers. So all these crafty craft light and Kugels things that you're talking about, it's just like way too much, except they discontinued my favorite. And I'm really mad about it. I used to drink Light and Kugel's grapefruit shandy, and I loved it. It was light and it was crisp. It was a perfect summer beer, and they took it away. And I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. And now they come out with peach. Well, who cares about peach? I want the grapefruit back. So, yeah, you're not the only one missing one of their flavors. I am too.
I appreciate that, Ronnie. I shouldn't ask why she's called that, so I'm just going to let it go. Just don't, because
she's now a congratulated and fantastic, wonderful person. She gives the best hugs, and she's a now retired postal worker. So you can completely understand the Profane Ronnie.
No, now it makes total sense. Yes,
no, she also is very, very passionate, and sometimes gets carried away, even if she's on the air. And most of it is because of passion, and not because of not
because of any ill intent.
Yes, exactly. She's fantastic.
Gotcha. I would love to meet somebody friendly that way as a postal worker. Because for some reason, one of the postal workers here in Chippewa Falls apparently some people just aren't going to like you. I don't know why it is. Maybe it's something I did. Maybe it's just she's a Republican, I'm a Democrat. I don't know. But there's very few people that I will give the stink eye to. But one that I will, and this happened at the post office one time, is when something comes to, $20.01. Then they go, or 1901, whatever it was. And you give them the 20. And she counts out and gives you back 99 cents. And I'm sorry, that is a middle finger to your customer. If you're giving them 99 cents back, even 98 or 97, look, if it's 95, you're going to give them back 95 cents. That's fine. But, if you're really thinking you're going to get in trouble because your cash drawer is off by a penny, then we got to have a talk. But this
is semi the government we're talking about.
Well, yeah, again, it's not like they're going to miss it. We're paying state legislators $50,000 a year to stay home. So I think you can spare the penny. but I'm glad to hear that about Ronnie, and I'm glad to hear that we are able to, share what it is we do and don't like about our favorite adult beverages. And this is all, I hope, going to not get me in bad stead with Mr. Bangstead, because we do that Up North podcast every week, brought to you by the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC. But Kirk is nice enough to know that I'm always either with a bottle of a Liney's product or a brandy old fashioned, or, and here this will get me in trouble, we'll switch from beer to other beverages. My old fashions are now made with bourbon. Because they're just better. There, I said it. Kick me out of Wisconsin. But my brandy old fashions are better with bourbon. Specifically Knob Creek, but I will take some other type as well.
Yeah, I just had a Knob Creek does not mess around. So also they're supercharged too.
Oh, are they ever? Which is an entirely different radio show that we probably have to put on a streaming service and not put your broadcast license in jeopardy. But yeah, it packs a bit of a punch. But it is still to this day something that I think we're still all at a loss to understand is, how is it that brandy got to be the state drink essentially when it comes to old fashions? Because it's not like any name brand brandy is made here. Corbel is the big one. That's not based here, but it does lead to my brush with Corbel fame comes from, again, my time living in Milwaukee, where I was for a time the traffic director of the billboard company down there. At the time it was called Patrick Media Group. I don't know what it's called down there now, but it was my job to pick out the billboards for various clients. And then to pick up those national clients at the airport, they were usually cigarette companies, back in the day, this was, 1990, and drive them around all their billboards and see what they thought of them. And so I would have to pick up the Corbel brandy guy. And boy, had he perfected the good cop, bad cop thing, where if he saw a billboard location he didn't like, man, he's just riding you. But, he knew that he was going to get his way. And then, he loved when you accommodated him. And so I was part of the reason you saw all the good Corbel billboards around Milwaukee at the time. Jim Bob from Dalyville is on the line. Hello, Jim Bob.
Ken Bob, like Barbie and Ken.
Ken Bob. Okay. My apologies. I don't have my readers on. I didn't think I'd need them today. Ken Bob, how are you?
I'm pretty good. It's Friday. I just want to defend the poor postal workers because I used to have a business in Blue Mounds, Wisconsin, and we had to walk down to the post office to get our mail, so I was in there a lot. And we used to have a little penny jar there, so that if you had needed a penny, you could pull it.
Do we lose them? Oh no!
But I agree. That's why they all have the dish.
Yes. And look, we get that it's kind of faith-based, that that nobody's going to take like 12 cents out of it if they need it, because you shouldn't need 12 cents. At that point, you're going to get the change back. But it was the post office, a couple of post offices. It never happens at Quick Trip, for me. It does happen every time at Walgreens. So if I ever meet Mr. Walgreen, we're going to have some words about that. But Ken Bob, I'm sorry that we missed you as it was. But again, if I were to have the opportunity, I would not give you 99 cents. You'd get my $1. We'll be back.
I drink and I know things.
Drink it. Never ask a Navy man if you'll have another drink.
I've not yet begun to defile myself.
My Shiro always goes the extra mile, stretches every dollar, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. Get free tips to help boost your retirement savings now at aceretirement.org.
Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates.
The Republican Party on a national level, how many years did they investigate Hillary and Bill? They're still going to that.
They're still looking for emails, right? But they don't look in the Trump septic tank for half the top secret classified documents that he was flushing during his term. When one party doesn't care about governing, just don't allow anything to happen when the Democrats are in charge. And then they think the American people are going to get boonswoggled and vote Republican again.
Follow the Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
Hi, folks. This is Kirk Bankstad at the Monaco Brewing Company, and I am proud to introduce you to Choice, our new pink grapefruit flavored hard seltzer. Choice was made in collaboration with Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin, and 5% of the proceeds from every can goes to support them and their fight for reproductive freedom. Choice hard seltzer tastes great and comes in at only 105 calories per can. Go to our website, monacobrewingcompany.com, to find where you can buy Choice hard seltzer.
Here's today's STEM tip. Don't throw out that old plastic bottle. Repurpose it by turning it into an awesome terrarium. Just fill it with sand, pebbles, soil, and your favorite plant. It'll grow sealed right in its own ecosystem. Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates. Because freedom.
Hey, man, is that Freedom Rock? Yeah, man. Well, turn it up, man.
Welcome back one more time on the Devil's Advocates. Pat Kreitlow in for Mike Crute. And let's go right to the phones this time with Paul on the Beltline on the line. Paul, hi.
Hey, Pat. Hey, you were talking about brandy and that you went to the bourbon. I always drank the Corbel, and I always had a bad taste with it. And we came upon Driftless Glen. It's made in Baraboo, Wisconsin. It is a brandy you would love. It's smooth and it's really good.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, Paul. I had no idea I was going to dovetail into booze ads, but again, there's no rules anymore, so we're just going to do that. So I appreciate the heads up on that. I will admit to a bit of a prejudice. I don't know, maybe I'm just a snob, but again, something like Knob Creek has been aged for 9 years, says it right there on the bottle. And a lot of stuff, that when there'll be these local distilleries, and I don't just mean local Wisconsin, local anywhere. There's a big difference between something that's been aged 9 years and something that's been aged for 9 days. Let's just put it that way. So I would love to go to more local distilleries of places that have been open for quite a while and have let these baby barrels, sit around and matriculate, or whatever made up word you want to use. Let's just say age, because some of us age gracefully, and some of us are going to taste rough no matter how old we get to be. But I do appreciate that as we head into the weekend here, and we look for whatever our favorite beverage might be. I've been trying throughout the day, because I've taken a couple of hours off work from my day job at Up North News to try to not get in trouble with my bosses there, and to, plug the product wherever possible, especially since we now bring Up North News updates daily to this fine radio station at 5:30 in the evenings, 7:30 in the mornings. I know they're dropped in a few other times as well. And again, I really want to express my appreciation to Crudy for letting us do that. And it gives us a chance to promote some of the stories that we're working on any given day. But also a visit like this lets me talk about some that we've done in the recent past that I would like to steer you to if you were to go over to upnorthnewswi.com and look them up. Part of the nice thing of having a national team, and Up North News is part of a national network called Courier Newsroom with 8 different state-based outlets, is that we have people who are video editors, we have graphic designers, we have social media managers, experts. And I loved how one of our graphic designers a couple of weeks back made Governor Tony Evers into a hockey goalie. And we know that it worked because we heard from people on the Evers team, people that we don't normally talk to, trying to kind of have some separation there. But they loved us. They loved the Evers as hockey goalie, because essentially his veto pen is a great big oversized hockey stick. He's now vetoed, it was at least 98 bills. Maybe there were more while I was down in Texas last week. I couldn't even tell you, but we decided to list all the many ways that life is different in Wisconsin because of that veto pen, and how that's going to change next year if Governor Evers loses to either Rebecca Kleefisch or Timothy Ramthun or Kevin Nicholson or Tim Michaels. Although I don't know if Tim Michaels wins, will he actually use the governor's mansion, or will he fly in from Connecticut from the mansion out there? I don't know how that works.
If he does come in, he's going to, he must have gone to the Dells, because he's going to turn the governor's mansion upside down, you see. So it'll be like the upside down house in the Dells. But I guess it's the only place he's been in Wisconsin, because again, like you said, he lives in Connecticut.
He's been away for a while. I mean, look, I was up front and told you I spent 3 years living in the Caribbean. I feel if you spent 9 years or so living in Connecticut, New York City, near Park Avenue, you just go ahead and say so, and say it. So anyway, I wanted to steer you toward the ways that Wisconsin has been different because of the veto pen. And frankly, these are all bills that were vetoed this year, but they're going to go through next year, depending on how things turn out this fall. Tom from Madison joins us on the phone now. Hello, Tom.
Hey, speaking of the governor's race, I don't know if you've been on the Rebecca Kleefisch Facebook page recently, but she's got a post up there talking about Tony Evers getting together with other governors to demand a 9-month abortion on request. And then she publishes she puts a link down to a piece from WKOW, which doesn't say any of that. So basically it's like just, putting down a hyperbolic headline and then backing it up with something that says something completely different. So I called WKOW and talked to their newsroom, and they might actually get involved in that. We'll see.
I would hope that they do, because again, you're if you don't defend your product, if anybody can do anything with it, then you've lost all quality control over it, Tom. So I appreciate the heads up on what is happening here with. Look, the people who are telling you the most that something is fake news are usually the ones who are faking it the most, and that includes putting up press clippings that do not say what they purport to say. And, as has been talked about plenty of times, as we wrap up a very busy week because of the Roe versus Wade, reported decision. As we wrap this up, we need to come back to certain truths. And, those include that, abortion on demand is not something that involves a woman who's 8.5 months in and says, I just don't feel like this anymore. Let's kill this baby. That is not how it works. And I don't know why we have to wait for 1 degree of separation before people on one side of an issue finally see the light. I always think of, say, gay marriage. Same-sex marriage only got supported by Republicans when a son or a daughter, came out of the closet or something like that. And do they always have to have that 1 degree of separation before they understand the heartbreak, the pain, the angst that a woman or a couple goes through, finding out that, the baby they had hoped to have will not be viable outside the womb and will suffer tremendously, or it's an ectopic pregnancy where, she will not survive. There's actually a candidate or a politician someplace who said just yesterday, well, if we have to choose, you got to choose the baby, even if the ectopic pregnancy, kills the mom. It's that kind of ghoulish behavior that has been put on display this week. And while it has really torn at us to see some folks who are that insensitive or that clueless, I believe they have done us a favor. For the angst, for the worry, we know who they are now. And it's when you know who people are that you can make the best informed decisions. I'm Pat Kreitlow. Thanks again, crew. Thanks, Brian. It's been great to be here. Have a great weekend.
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.
No thanks. We gave it the office.
Thank you, dudes.
Hi, this is Brad from Zero Res.
Oh, great.
Need someone to help with your carpet cleaning, business or residence? Please give us a call. We have the best system available and an amazing team of friendly technicians. Call us at 848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com.
Listen to your favorite political talkers no matter where you are. 92.7 FM in Madison and Eastern Dane County, 1580 AM Columbus, north of Madison, and for daytime east-west commutes on I-94. 101 FM in the Shaw, and 540 AM covering eastern Wisconsin all day and covering the Milwaukee Metro, the Wild Counties, Racine, and Kenosha 24/7. Download the free Devil Radio app for your smartphone and take both stations with you everywhere. No excuses, just listen.
Listen to the Empowered Caregiver Show each Saturday and Sunday morning at 9 a.m. with hosts Liza Hellenbrand and Kristen Voss.
Right here on Devil Radio 92.7, WTTN 1580 AM, and the Devil Radio app.
You are listening to WTTN 1580 AM Columbus, W224 EG Madison, always streaming on the Devil Radio app.
Tennessee's Republican governor signs a bill to regulate medication abortions.
Tennessee Governor Bill Lee has signed a bill that will strictly regulate the dispensing of abortion pills in his state. Lee, a Republican, signed the bill Thursday night that will require a medical clinician to be physically present when abortion pills are administered to a patient, even though federal regulations allow mail delivery nationwide. The Tennessee bill will go into effect January 1st, 2023. Notably, Tennessee is among 13 states with the so-called trigger law that would make abortion illegal should the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade decision be overturned. A draft opinion leaked this week suggested the U.S. Supreme Court is poised to overturn Roe. I'm Mike Gracia.
The Labor Department says 428,000 jobs were added in April. The tight labor market has small companies like Cut Above Landscaping in Massachusetts scrambling to find workers. Owner Christopher Clark says the help wanted ads aren't working.
People don't answer the ads that we have out, Craigslist, Indeed, word of mouth or anything. There's nobody's coming to the door to apply for a position.
Clark says even when he hires someone, they may not show up for work. In Havana, Cuba, sirens as rescuers arrive at a luxury hotel where an apparent gas leak explosion blew away the outer walls of the building. At least 9 people are dead, another 40 injured. No tourists were staying in the 96-room hotel, which was undergoing renovations. At least 13 people are missing. The stock markets post their 5th straight weekly loss. On the day, the S&P 500 lost 23 points. The Dow dropped 98. The Nasdaq again had the largest loss, dropping 173, a 1.4% loss in value. This is AP News.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If SelectQuote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-597-2010. That's 1-800-597-2010. 1-800-597-2010. Or go to selectquote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
You've merely made radio your ally. I was born on the radio. Devil Radio 92.7.
When we built the Devil Radio World Headquarters in Madison, it was filthy with construction dust, a real mess. I called Magnific Cleaning Services and they made it shine. A few days later, we moved in and created a whole new mess. Magnific Cleaning Services made it shine again. Now Magnific Cleaning Services is the only cleaners I trust with the keys to my company. They clean Devil Radio affordably and with great attention to detail. Find them online at magnificservice.com for a free estimate. Tell them Devil Radio sent you. Devil Radio has been kicking ass, earning every listener, and providing our sponsors return on investment 3 years now on the Madison airwaves. And there has never been a better time than right now to advertise with us and join the Devil Radio community. Our audience is loyal and growing every day. Active listeners that don't flip. Wonder if your ad dollars are working? Devil Radio listeners will tell you it works. Ad production is included. Devil Radio will make it easy for you to start seeing return on your investment. Call today. Listen to your favorite political talkers no matter where you are. 92.7 FM in Madison and Eastern Dade County, 1580 AM Columbus, north of Madison, and for daytime east-west commutes on I-94, 101 FM in the Shaw, and 540 AM covering eastern Wisconsin all day and covering the Milwaukee Metro, the Wild Counties, Racine, and Kenosha 24/7. Download the free Devil Radio app for your smartphone and take both stations with you everywhere. No excuses, just listen.
I find your lack of Devil Radio 92.7 disturbing. Do not fail me again.
For Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM, I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. This week, the Wisconsin Department of Health Services released an annual report that shows the period between 2009 and 2017, the state of Wisconsin experienced a ramping up of restrictions on abortion access that led to 40% of the clinics in the state closing. Also in the report, since the 1980s, abortions have decreased in the state by roughly 60%, and reproductive experts say that is due to the closing of clinics, along with increased access and advancement of contraceptives over that period of time. Experts in Wisconsin believe there will be a surge of residents that will be forced to seek abortion pills through the mail if Roe v. Wade gets officially overturned later this year. Cloudy skies are in the forecast today with a slight chance for rain, winds up to 20 miles per hour, and a high of 63 degrees. Skies become clear to partly cloudy as the day goes on with an overnight low of 40 degrees. You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
Devil Radio programming is produced live in the Solidarity Realty Studios. Find them at solidarityrealty.com. Solidarity Realty. There is an alternative.
Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves and corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the Devil Radio Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning. Welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Here is your host, Mike Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, how you doing, little buddy?
Hey, man, I'm fantastic. Crudy, happy Friday to you. We got Evan, we got Brian, our fair audience, man. It's been a hell of a week. I'm glad it's happy hour on a Friday, man.
It is the happier happy hour. I want to thank Pat Kreitlow. Pat Kreitlow filling in for me for a couple hours, had a little TCB, taking care of business, man. And is Fancy Brian? I know Fancy Brian's ducking out a little bit early. Is he still around? How you doing, big guy? Fancy Brian.
I am feeling fancy and feeling fine.
Dominic made fun of. I am modestly dressed up. I've got like a polo shirt and a sport coat. And he said, Men's Warehouse or St. Vinny's? and my response is, well, I'm just going to say this. I like the way I look.
Well, someone's got to, how can you love anybody else if you don't love yourself, Crudy? Can I get an amen?
You don't
a polo shirt and a suit coat, man. Is that?
I got jeans on. It's, buddy.
I'm so confused.
I got to tell you, relative to my normal, like
business alley attire. When I put a sport coat on, people are like, "Oh, you clean up nicely." I'm like, I grabbed the sport coat, but it is a clear difference. I think mostly because it conceals my belly.
Well, I'm wondering, what's that bright stuff on your head? Oh, I'm sorry. This is your forehead. You're not wearing a hat today.
I got a hat. It's back in my office.
Oh, it's a little
apparently
here,
I should have taken the last hour off. Why? I just
want to come and hang out with your college buddy, man.
I can't really tell the story of what I was just talking about, but I can tell you I've never been condescended to in that way in my life.
Are you sure, man? I've known you a long time.
I was talking to a guy and he's just pounded the snot out of me on the phone. And I'm like, really? Like, do I even know you? But this guy knew more about me because I do a little radio show, and apparently he's not a big fan in some way, shape, or form. and I'm just taking a pounding on this guy about, let's just say some of the radio decisions I've made through the years, some of the things I've said and done. Apparently not a fan.
Indiscretions of youth, Michael. I mean,
let's describe them.
Live in the past of 2 or 3 years ago, months ago, days ago. It's all in the past. There's nothing you can do about it now.
Well, it would be so rare that someone would have me back on my heels and not exactly speechless, because I was still talking, but I was given like the like pound away, say what you're going to say to me. Yeah, disrespect me a little bit more. Yeah,
that's my job. I'm getting a little mad about this. I'm
thinking, my wife apparently is putting on seminars for people in the general public. I'm not sure what I did to deserve that phone call, Don, but glad.
Oh, I'm sure you did something, man. You're just catching up on things you forgot you did.
I know, karma in the universe and all that kind of stuff. So glad to see you gentlemen on the radio, and glad that Pat Kreitlow filled in for me a couple days. He's he sounded like a radio professional. That's a little different than the rest of us around here.
Yeah, it sounded like he knew what he was talking about, knew what he was doing. I listened in a little bit. Yeah, he sounded great. Appreciate it, Pat.
Pat Kreitlow doing it from Chippewa Falls, somewhere up in the Northland of the great state of Wisconsin. We're going to take your Friday grievances. Do you have any? Has anyone disrespected your ass? Other than perhaps, Associate Justice Alito.
Right. No right to privacy. I got one. We talked about Madison Cawthorn and the pillow humping thing. I mean, I've never witnessed anybody love a My Pillow as much as Cawthorn did, man. Did you see the video?
I have only heard descriptions of what is contained in the furry ass video.
Of all the asinine things that guy has done, from my perspective, this is the least worrisome. I mean, the guy's trying to take weapons onto planes more than once. You know what I'm saying? That's very concerning to me.
Lots of reckless driving post revocation.
Right? I mean, the mental stability of the man, I question. That concerns me, especially having a guy like that with a gun on a plane. But that aside,
can't you still call him youthful indiscretions?
If he's only 26. Pillows, I mean, who cares? If that's all you got to do, if that's what you got, knock yourself out. I mean, that doesn't hurt anybody.
So what did he do? Make sure that I and the audience are absolutely clear. What is the allegation here?
It's seemingly it's probably about a waist high video shot, and he's on a bed and he's furiously humping or pretending to hump, but he's naked, he's bare assed, and he's just going to town in the bed, apparently on a My Pillow, Mike Lindell, My Pillow. I think Lindell should use this as an advertising campaign because
nothing matters anymore.
He was really going to town. But the reaction of everybody, oh my God, another naked video. Really, that's it. A guy obviously goofing around. It seemed to be. But when I first saw it, I didn't know if it was anybody or anything was underneath him. I was unclear as who was the recipient of such a furious machinations of lovemaking. But apparently it was just a My Pillow.
And I'm serious. If you have any moral character about you, we're all in this together.
Oh, I hate it when you run out of crack. It's tough, man. It's tough times.
I've heard his ass described as very hairy.
Well, I'm not going to judge. What's wrong with that?
As noted, when you and I were out, caboozeling with college friends, you were all quite a bit hairier, at least in terms of like forearm hair than yours truly.
Yeah,
I'm not a hairy dude. I'm a fine-haired person.
Yes,
at least on the melon in the arms.
So I'll give Cawthorn a break on the pillow humping of everything.
What about
he's
the
done.
ass hair braiding? Should he really have braided?
I didn't see the braids, but it wasn't that close. But again, as the Sicilian on the panel, who am I to cast a stone?
844-967-2789. Wouldn't it be a great time to join the conversation?
Come on, any other grievances besides the abortion stuff? There's got to be other grievances. I do have a note here, though, from the Raw story. I guess this is kind of breaking news. Trump loses lawsuit demanding Twitter lift his lifetime suspension. Now, don't get too enamored with the headline, because if we get down into it, on Friday, the judge announced Trump's lawsuit is, quote, dismissed in its entirety. The 17-page ruling noted a number of structural deficiencies with Trump's lawsuit, but did allow plaintiffs to file an amended complaint by May 27th. So he's got another bite at the apple. But I got to ask you, I mean, with Truth Social out, and we've already heard the president say that even if Elon Musk allows him back onto Twitter after the closing on the deal, that he wouldn't do it. He's got the Truth Social. Why continue on with the lawsuit then?
To try to re-platform on Twitter? Yeah, and he said he didn't even want to be on Twitter, right? That's
right, exactly.
I don't even want to sleep with that girl, right?
She's not my type. Have you seen her? It's not my type.
I was sitting here just glancing at a couple of local headlines in the state of Wisconsin, and I see some tragic news for the former governor, Scott Walker.
Oh, no.
Here's what I mean. JCPenney owners reportedly offered to buy Kohl's department store $8.6 billion.
Ooh.
But Scott Walker's entire nest egg is made up of Kohl's cash.
Yeah. I mean, he was talking about taking his coupons to Kohl's back on the presidential campaign trail back in 15.
Do you remember the time we went to a Kohl's department store to try and verify the veracity of the Kohl's dollar? What are they called? Kohl's bucks?
Kohl's cash.
Kohl's cash. Oh,
yeah, Kohl's cash.
Scott Walker loved him some Kohl's cash. That's how he shows you that he's a man of the people.
Well, that and the brown bag ham sandwich lunch, but he's got like $1 million a year over at the Young America's Foundation.
He's doing better.
Right?
He's doing better.
I don't want to overstate the income, but I understand he's getting paid.
Well, I thought he had mostly invested that revenue in Beanie Babies, and he and Tonette were counting on the Kohl's cash to work them through to the end of their days.
What, the Cabbage Patch Kids don't hold their value anymore, so they stepped up to the Beanie Babies?
Well, I think the Cabbage Patch Kids probably would have some intrinsic value relative, to the Beanie Babies.
Oh, man.
A greater intrinsic value. But what do I know? I'm not into the collectibles. I just collect friendships with people you.
Is that what you do? Have you got any new ones in the last 30 years, Crute?
In the last, let's just say hour, I met a stranger and got the snot slapped out of me because apparently I was not a stranger to them. My reputation preceded me.
Yeah. Oh, that'll happen. Usually when it happens to me, people are glad to see me and talk to me. That's weird.
The guy said to me, he goes, "Oh, then Crute." I said, "I am Crute."
Click.
No, it was almost like a gleeful moment. Like, oh, now I got the bastard I wanted to talk to because I've been looking to lay some lumber all day long. I got some grievances.
Oh,
and I want to share them with you people.
It's Friday.
It is Friday, and I can't drink. I've got a social event at my son's college. I don't think I can walk in, too pie-eyed and and beer breath. So, I'm trying to be good here.
Well, you got to keep the weed and hooker spit out of your mouth. You'll be all right.
At least I look good. And the men's warehouse, black sport coat. I mean, it's all a sliding scale with me, you realize.
and a polo shirt.
And
a suit coat and a pair of jeans. You got flip-flops on?
Skechers, but I forgot I was wearing white socks. More Devils.
I'm not a respected source of information, even for me.
You will respect my authority.
She would not be my first choice, that I can tell you.
Make it the greatest radio show ever. The Devil's Advocates is my passion. It must be. I've been doing it for a decade. Running 2 Wisconsin radio stations, providing the only platforms of truth and resistance against fascism in a critical swing state. That's a vital mission and a tremendous responsibility. And it all costs money. So support the mission and the show. Join and give at patreon.com at the Devil's Advocates Radio. Help me change hearts and minds and just maybe save democracy.
President Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election.
Collectively, Republicans got 1.661 million votes, 51,000 more votes than Trump got.
He exhausted his cases. He exhausted the court challenges.
All the Republicans voted for Trump the way they voted for the assembly candidates. He would have won.
It was not rigged. It was not stolen. Donald Trump lost the election. Joe Biden won the election. It's really clear.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org.
My fine guest, Maggie Dawn, attorney at law. I thought that the laws of the United States were supposed to evolve with societal norms. The vast majority of Americans, 70% approximately, believe that Roe v. Wade should be the law of the land. So that seems exactly contrary to the way the courts are supposed to evolve with our nation.
I'll just say this. The guy in Colorado can't be forced to make a gay wedding cake, but I can be forced to make a baby. I don't know about you, but that makes no damn sense to me.
Follow the Devil's Advocates on Facebook and Twitter.
Pa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam, ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council. The Devil's Advocates know how to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and we're all out of bubblegum.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Happy Friday to us all. Join us, air your grievances at 844-967-2789.
Okay, here's a real political grievance. Marjorie Taylor Greene will appear apparently on the ballot in Georgia. The administrative court judges said, nothing to see here. And ultimately, it's Brad Raffensperger's job to make final determination. But if the judge said she can be on the ballot, I think the Secretary of State, who is a Republican, is on the ballot himself this year. I can't imagine he's going to take the opportunity, to try to wage that war against both the judge, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and the entire MAGA movement.
Yeah.
And he's already been targeted for not finding 11,780 votes. You know,
we knew that was going to be a big lift. And if anything positive that came out of this, number one, they tried. Number two, you got Marge under oath. And I think that's very important. We saw how she reacted. So her comments under oath could come back at some point in the future. We'll see what happens. But, they made an effort. You don't win them all.
844-967-2789. Don't want to be selfish. Other people got a lot of problems with you, Don. I
tell you about it.
And me, perhaps. Come insult Crudy on the phones. Catherine from Madison, please don't insult me on the phones.
Hey, Catherine.
Hello. How are you guys doing?
Awesome. Thank you.
Good.
I'm calling regarding the man from Florida that has the case he's bringing against the Bible in school.
Chaz
Stevens, from yesterday.
Yes, I think that is just a terrific idea. I mean, we need, and I love the Kurt Beckstead thing too, where he's saying that they can't run for office if they've, tried to throw over the government. But I was calling because I have a grievance from when I was in elementary school. We had the story of Lot. I went to a Lutheran school, and I don't know, the story of Lot freaked me out as a young kid because 2 angels came to Sodom and Gomorrah, and they wanted to save Lot because Lot was this good guy. And so they come to his house, and they're in his house, and a bunch of the mob from Sodom comes out, and they want to take the men out and know them the biblical way. So Lot says, "Don't take these 2 men out and hurt them. Take my 2 virgin daughters instead." And this was the good guy. And I thought, as a kid, some dad is sending his 2 kids out, and I'm a daughter. I'm an only child. What's going to happen if something like that happens? Would my father do that? And it just really freaked me out as a kid.
Yeah.
I'm saying, yeah.
If he was an obedient father to the greater father, the Almighty, if you will.
Catherine, I'm not entirely clear on the story, but so just for clarification, when Lot told the mob to not take these 2 guys and take his virgin daughters instead, was he referring to the 2 angels that came down to save him?
Yes.
Well,
The
if they were
came-
angels, servants of God, couldn't they, flap their wings or snap their fingers? Or I'm not clear what the angel powers are. I mean, I've seen a few Marvel movies, but I don't know how it applies in this regard.
Well, as a little girl, I was in 4th grade. I remember because I remember the teacher and everything. And I even thought, well, an angel should be able to take care of themselves, or zoom back up to heaven, or save the family. And then Lot was supposed to be this really good guy that the angels came down to tell him to leave. Then the story gets even worse if you want to hear the rest of it.
Well,
Because
when do the Jewish space lasers come in?
I know. That's when they needed them. Just clear that lot out, clear that group out from there. Yeah, I know, it's terrible. So at any rate, that's not the only bad story in the Bible, but women got a lot of bad shakes in there. And I was really.
Did Lot get turned into a pillar of salt at some point? Was that him, or was that someone else?
His wife, yes, because then when they leave, he's leaving Sodom and Gomorrah, and they tell
Don't look back.
everybody,
Don't look back.
And I'm thinking, I'm a kid. What do you do when your parents say, "Don't look back"? Right?
Where back there?
You look back, right? Yeah. So I'm thinking I would have looked back and I would have turned into a pillar of salt. So I mean, the Bible was it was a scary thing especially for women. I tell you, it was bad.
Yes, for women and kids, and talk about grooming and indoctrination, Catherine. I mean, you still remember that to this day. I mean, what an experience.
It really was. I mean, that actually gave me it was a scary story. A little bit like some of the German fairy tales. I don't know if you followed very many of them, but they're pretty good.
Just Hansel and Gretel.
Oh my God! Right?
Hansel?
Yeah.
Hansel?
Catherine, are you a believer now? Do you think do you take it to heart? Are you you're not? You don't. No.
I had
and when did you
conversion.
transition from obviously forced?
16 years old. I know exactly when. I was I was 16 years old in high school, and I was looking around for religion I could believe in, and I was in the chapel, and I just said, "This is all just to make us feel better about dying. This is not real. There's no being that knows everything you are and what you're doing and how many hairs are on your head, and is going to take you to a place of glory for the rest of your eternity."
Yeah.
So and I wish it was kind of nice to believe in it, especially when you face death or the loss of loved ones. It's kind of nice to think that you'd see them again. I think that's where it came from.
Catherine,
that's my belief.
If they made a Lot brand table salt, would you use it?
Oh, that's great, Catherine. Hey, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for the call. Have a wonderful weekend. And don't forget, it wasn't just about making us feel better, when we die. It's also about controlling the population. It's also about, milking and sucking as much money out of people as they possibly can. Let's not forget.
God needs
selling
your money.
indulgences. Right. God, he's all powerful, but he's really bad with money. Thanks, Catherine.
Yesterday being Cinco de Mayo, I took a little lot brand salt and put it on the ring of a margarita glass. And some of that, bar rail tequila that was it you who said?
Yeah. Don't get the good stuff. Just get whatever, man. You get all the syrup and the fruit and whatever you're blending with it. You don't use good tequila.
You know what I actually drank on Cinco de Mayo?
Rum.
Double Captain diets. Come back. I wish I was drinking one right now. More Devil's Advocates. The happier happy hour could be happier with your calls. 844-96-PARTY.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it.
Hansel? Hansel? Hansel?
From Bernie to Biden to even Trump supporters, Devil Radio is the political fix for every Wisconsinite. Always streaming at DARNWI.com.
Here on Devil Radio, the happy hour is always the happiest hour of the day. If you want to end your day on a high note, join the happy hour at the all-new Dark Horse Art Bar, 756 East Washington Ave, right next to Salvatore's Tomato Pies. Happy hours now Tuesday through Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m. with drink and wine specials and $1 slices, and always free parking in our building. The Dark Horse Art Bar. Enjoy this unique, funky, cool space. Surround yourself with art with featured local, regional, and national artists. New shows each month.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, it's Rocker, and I'm lifting off from Sal's Tomato Pies, enjoying a brand new cocktail called the Cosmonaut. It's an improved take on the classic cocktail with Madison-made Rocker vodka, featuring orange liqueur, house-made citrus cordial, lime, and cranberry. Experience liftoff with the Cosmonaut, the new cocktail featuring Rocker vodka at Sal's Tomato Pies in Sun Prairie, Madison, and the Dark Horse Art Bar. Must be 21. Please drink.
Thinking. I'm Tim McGuire with an AP News Minute. A U.S. official says intelligence was shared with Ukraine about the location of the Russian missile cruiser Moskva before the warship sank. Pentagon spokesman John Kirby plays down any direct role.
The kind of intelligence that we provide them, it's legitimate, it's lawful, and it's limited. And I would rather not get into what, the degree to which there's limitations on there.
The sinking was a high-profile embarrassment for Russia's military. Dozens more civilians rescued today from the tunnels under the besieged Mariupol steel plant, where Ukrainian fighters have been making their last stand to prevent Moscow's complete takeover of the port city. Ukraine's government and military are preparing for what could be increased Russian attacks across the country through the weekend, ahead of Russia's marking the World War II victory over Nazi Germany next Monday. I'm Tim McGuire.
I'm Joel Clark, a Select Quote agent, with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and he can't take it with him. Well, I went to work and found Ray, who's 40 and takes medication to control his high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. That's way more coverage for a lot less than what he was paying. If Select Quote didn't shop for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote and to find out how much you can save, call 1-800-597-2010. That's 1-800-597-2010. 1-800-597-2010. Or go to selectquote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policies at selectquote.com/commercials. Your premium could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
For Devil Radio, 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM. I'm Luke Mathers with your headlines. This week, the Madison School District and Madison Teachers, Inc., the local teachers union, began the collective bargaining process ahead of the upcoming school year. In their first meeting, the two sides are approaching the negotiations for wage increases from different places. Madison Teachers, Inc. is asking for a 4.7% base wage increase, in line with the cost of living adjustments seen by other districts in the area, but the Madison School District is offering a 2% increase to start. The Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection has now identified the highly contagious avian flu in backyard flocks in Pierce and Sauk counties. The CrossFit Games will return to Madison for a sixth and final year in 2023, according to the organization and the Alliant Energy Center. The Games games will be held this year from August 3rd to the 7th. The Milwaukee Brewers swept the Cincinnati Reds yesterday afternoon with a 10-5 victory. You're listening to Devil Radio 92.7 FM and WTTN 1580 AM.
The Devil's Advocates know how to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and we're all out of bubblegum.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. The weekend nearly upon us. We'll get you home or get you to the party safe. Once you get there, you're on your own. But I got Dominic, we got Evan, and we can screen your phone calls at 844-967-2789. Don't worry. If you can talk even a little bit clearly, we'll let you through. They let us host in this condition. Dominic, I don't know if you saw, but there was a let me just see what it was precisely. Well, let me just read from a story I found at the Raw Story, one of my favorite sources. Aaron Mostovsky, who rioted at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, is pleading for leniency as he faces a sentence within the range of 10 to 16 months, according to Political's Kyle Cheney. Cheney reports that the federal judge presiding over the case believed that Mostovsky was remorseful and that his actions on January 6th were out of character. Here's a quote, Dom. Did I mention the defendant in this case, Mostovsky, was dressed as Captain Caveman effectively at the U.S. Capitol? So,
I mean,
a little cosplay going on there, Dom?
Maybe. I'm not clear. I see a picture here, and he has a fur. He's got like a fox over his head. He's got like a police vest on, which is also kind of strange. He's holding a staff. Lots of
where
fur.
The QAnon shaman meets Law and Order.
Right. QAnon shaman, who apparently wants to retract his guilty plea. I'm not clear what's happening there, but he pulled it off a whole lot better than Aaron Mostovsky, man. I mean, this guy looks like he saw the shaman and was like trying to copy him very poorly.
Well, let me read a quote from the judge in this case. Almost as if this were a play.
What?
A performance dressed up as a caveman.
I'm just a caveman.
As if there was some fantasy game. I hope you'll leave some of this fantasy world behind.
Well, I'm sure he'll leave some of it behind and cell block 8 for 8 months. He'll be living all sorts of fantasies then.
Mostovsky, who is the son of Stephen Mostovsky, a state court judge in Brooklyn, must be so proud, was ultimately sentenced to 8 months in prison, as Dom pointed out. So there's that. Captain Caveman. Do you think he'll be able to wear the Captain Caveman in prison?
I don't think so. And looking at the guy, he might be one who loses his mattress on the first day. just saying, man. Breaking news: Rudy Giuliani is bailing out on this January 6th testimony. He will not testify, according to breaking news.
He also looks like a man who's going to lose his mattress on the first day in prison.
He lost his mind a long time ago. So he's been teasing us that he'd show up. Oh, but I want to record it. Apparently J6 said, and so he's
got, cameo appearances and podcasts with Steve Bannon. He's got lots of places.
The Masked Singer or whatever his.
Oh, how could I have forgotten the Masked Singer appearance?
I mean, what? So, but he's got time for that and he's okay with that, but he apparently will not show up to testify. He's under subpoena, right? I believe from the J6. So reporting that I saw on the Chiron from CNN was that the J6 will attempt to use some sort of enforcement mechanisms to compel him to testify. So Giuliani apparently getting some cold feet. Maybe he's got another performance at the same time. Some, scheduling conflicts.
Well, Dominic, as long as we're talking about crime and punishment, I wanted to take note of the fact, simply being in jail won't keep you out of office, at least not keep you from winning a Republican primary. And I found this headline a little troubling and hard to believe, but apparently I got to believe it's true because you found it on the Raw Story. Republican wins GOP nomination from jail. Well, every man deserves due process, right?
Certainly.
And
even every woman.
Perhaps yes. Well,
I mean, we'll see what happens. If Alito's got anything to do with it, you never know.
So, the fact that this person could win the primary from jail, Mandela Nelson, pardon me.
Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela. Thank you. Not
the other Mandela.
He won the presidency from jail or something astonishing, or perhaps left jail immediately to win the presidency. But the charges that this guy's sitting on jail for murdering his wife.
Oops. Wait, you can't do that? Or you can't do that now and maybe you can in the future? We'll see.
Dominic, apparently you can do that while it might currently be a crime, unless Trump pardons the guy. It doesn't even keep you from winning the primary in the Republican Party. That's not a disqualifier, apparently.
I mean, it is concerning, but the actuality, it's like some small town in Indiana, and he got like 60 votes. So, I mean, maybe word hadn't gotten around
but he was
that he
sitting
clubbed
in jail on murder charges for killing his wife.
Killing his wife, who confronted him after she got out of some chemotherapy, cancer treatments. Confronted him regarding his infidelity, and then he hit her with a flower pot and dumped her body.
Gallon-sized concrete flower pot.
Yeah. And then dumped her body by the creek or something, and then went on to be nominated, elected. He's on the ballot, got elected for like city council or something. I mean, he hasn't been found guilty.
Maybe she fell off that bridge.
Wow, man. But I mean, as we've discussed, and really once this, and that's my reflection on the week. Once this Aliota, one of my old favorite bars, once Justice Alito's opinion was leaked, all facade from the Republicans came off like a smelly, dirty, sweaty mask. There's no exception for rape. There's no exception for incest. No, they're going to go for everything. There's no right to privacy. That is anything they've ever claimed to be somewhat moderate. Now, man, they got the juice in the veins and they are going for it. Just briefly here, we'll get to the phones at 844-967-2789. Just a minute. Jay Bookman from the Georgia Recorder. Supreme Court justices lied to the Senate and they lied to us. It's quite a long piece. We posted up on the Facebook page of the Devil's Advocates Radio. You can go see it there. The few paragraphs I'd like to share with the audience to kind of reinforce this, what we've lived through, what we've seen this week, and what has really, really come to light as to the policies and philosophies of these Republicans. As the author writes, Alito dismisses the idea that Americans have a constitutional right to privacy, and with it, the idea that some decisions are too intimate and personal to be decided by the heavy hand of government. Kind of ironic, don't you think? As Alito notes, the words privacy and abortion are mentioned nowhere, I tell you, in the Constitution, therefore leading him to conclude that we have no right to such things. And as a side note, is the word corporation mentioned anywhere in the Constitution?
Corporations are people, my friend.
No, well, but I'm not sure that that's mentioned in the Constitution, but let me continue. Alito also waves away the 9th Amendment, which the founders included in anticipation of just such an argument. Quote, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people, it states. Alito writes that the amendment does not apply because the right to abortion, quote, is not deeply rooted in the nation's history and tradition. And I would just note, probably since there's been births, there's been abortions, Alito, but, let me digress. I'm a man. I don't know these things. The author goes on to write, but if there is no right to privacy in the Constitution, if it is not among those rights retained by the people, even if it is not explicitly mentioned, then the door is reopened to challenge other rights granted as part of the right to privacy. The right to obtain contraceptives, the right of gay Americans to live as straight Americans live, the right to marry, because after all, gay and contraceptive also do not appear in the Constitution. Instead, Alito writes, it is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives. If the draft opinion holds, as it probably will, writes the author, the state legislators that you elect, the members of Congress and the attorneys general, the governors and governors you elect will now decide whether and how the rights that we have enjoyed for a half a century will continue to exist. The Constitution, as construed by this court, will no longer protect us. Our only remaining protection is through the ballot box. And if we don't make our voices heard loudly and clearly there, then we can expect even worse rulings in the years ahead. Vote wisely or accept the consequences. A good piece, Jay Bookman at the Georgia Recorder.
844-967-2789. Todd or Billy, north side of Madison. Welcome. Billy, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, thank you.
All right. So I just wanted you guys to not forget that Eugene B. Debs ran for president from a jail cell. He was in jail for sedition for speaking out against World War I and ran for president on the Socialist Party ticket from a jail cell and garnered quite a lot of votes.
But not enough to win.
No, not enough to win. No.
Well, you edified me. I had forgotten about that fact, but thank you for throwing that out there. Any other political thoughts or any big events happening this weekend in your life? Let's not forget it's Mother's Day weekend. You doing anything for mom or remembering mom, whatever the case may be?
Oh, absolutely. For my wife and my mother, we'll be doing some things. So we'll have a wonderful Mother's Day weekend, I hope.
My wife is taking her mother out. So both my wife and mother-in-law are out of commission. So that is a happy Mother's Day indeed.
Yeah, probably for both you and them, Crudy. Everybody wins.
That's a win-win-win. Don't you think, Todd or Billy?
It sounds like one. It sounds like one. More successful than Eugene V. Debs. Although, man, he was fighting a good fight.
That's all we try to do around here, Todd or Billy. We get our asses kicked often, but we fight the good fight.
You got to take a couple of pokes. Everyone's got to play until you get punched in the nose. But how ironic that it is Mother's Day on Sunday. Don't forget, everybody. And this is when this ruling gets leaked. I mean, Mother's Day. You think there's going to be any further conversations around the Mother's Day dinner table? I guarantee you, when I sit down for lunch with my mother-in-law and the family, there will be conversations. My wife and daughter went to a protest here in Milwaukee. I mean, my daughter's carrying a sign that says "No more wire hangers." I just keep thinking the movie, "No more wire hangers ever." But I mean, I try to make light, but oh my God, my 17-year-old daughter has to go march in the frickin' streets because Republicans want to use the power and the force of the state to force pregnancies, to force birthing upon women. But they're the small government people. Just ask them.
Here's one thing I appreciated. My youngest son and I had one of the better conversations I recall ever having with this kid, since he's a little shaver, last night. And the impetus for the conversation was a classroom discussion they had yesterday on Roe v. Wade. A little bit of polling here, Dom, and we'll take some more calls before the end of this big show. 844-967-2789. New CNN polling. 66% of Americans say Roe v. Wade should not be completely struck down, and 59% would support Congress passing legislation, including 81% of Dems, 65% of independents, 30% of Republicans. But is it going to move the needle? Well, right now, Democrats are less enthusiastic about voting in the midterms, 43%, than Republicans, 56%. So that ain't so great. But the young kids are the ones most likely to take note of it. Younger adults are particularly apt to say they feel angry if Roe were overturned. 47%, 46%. Damn it. Anyways, polling out, math on the radio. It seems like Friday afternoon. We shouldn't be doing that. I was just trying to support your thoughts. Will there be electoral consequences?
I hope so. Come back. Your calls could be next. I see a friend. Rocker, they got a big party going on this weekend. Blastica, the 7th anniversary. We'll tell you all about it. More Devils.
Right now, we all feel a little disconnected. For seniors living alone, the isolation can be overwhelming. Connect with an older loved one and have the conversation of a lifetime at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
These are the sounds of a dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
The radio show your mother warned you about.
Actual tyranny of a dictator. Dictator's going to dictate Putin. And what did Trump do? Trump kneeled to the man, embarrassing Republicans. And you're still with the guy. This is your front runner in 2024. You've been smoking some of Mike Lindell's crack. What are you thinking?
They're the GCCCP. We are the Devil's Advocates.
Live weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
I'm Kirk Bankstad, and I own the Minocqua Brewing Company in Deep Red, northern Wisconsin, and I have a super PAC. We make good trouble by buying billboards, radio ads, and calls to voters in northern Wisconsin. We target federal and state elections, think Ron Johnson and Tom Tiffany, and concentrate on a fair redistricting process. Give a donation now if you're able at the MinocquaBrewingCompany.com super PAC tab. Help us make the politics of the Northwoods as clean as our lakes and streams. That's the MinocquaBrewingCompany.com super PAC tab.
Should I get it?
Should I wait?
Is it safe?
It's okay to have questions. Now, get the facts. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so that you can make an informed decision when COVID-19 vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Happy Friday, the last segment of this Friday happy hour. Join us on the phones, toll free, talk or text 844-967-2789.
Don, before we finish, one more grievance. U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, great state of Wisconsin, quoted today in regards to Roe v. Wade and the prospect it's going to be overturned. Here's what Ron thinks. Talking about the Wisconsin law, which would ban abortion immediately upon the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Well, Ron thinks that 1849 law, he says, I don't think it will stand for long. I think the democratic process in Wisconsin will have something other than the 1849 law. Well, all four of the Republican candidates running against Tony Evers, at least reportedly, shouldn't say allegedly, reportedly, they all oppose exceptions for rape or incest, which would reflect the law from 1849 where, pretty much everything's banned. So as far as I can tell, Dom, Ron Johnson's just trying to make nice? Like, oh, no, it's not going to be. It would be that.
He's trying to lessen the blow. I mean,
almost like his January 6th whitewashing.
I saw, people were festive and having fun. Yes, that's exactly, Crudy. That is exactly what the senior senator, from Wisconsin is doing. Ron Johnson, he's got to go.
Real quick, Governor Evers has always been clear that he will do whatever is necessary to protect access to reproductive care for everyone in Wisconsin. Choices on the ballot in 2022, and it's critical that we reelect Governor Evers. Anyways, 844-967-2789. Rocking out this weekend, our friends from Maxink Radio, Rocker, Blastica weekend, something like that.
Hey, Rocker.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Thanks for having me on. Yep, Blastica. It's coming up tomorrow night, May 7th, at the Dark Horse Art Bar. And Blastica is Maximum Ink Music Magazine's annual birthday party, our celebration of another year of existence. And we're on 26 right now. And
26. I thought it was
Wow.
7.
Well, Maximum Ink Music Magazine has been around since March 7th, 1996. Now, Max Ink Radio came into existence around 2011.
Oh, that didn't count till you joined Devil Radio, man.
Well, then we're 3. But yeah. So tomorrow we're going to have a party down at the Dark Horse Art Bar. It's free to get in, free admission to all. The party actually starts at 6 p.m. with an art gallery showing. So I'm going to have archived music magazines from the last 26 years that people can actually read. And then we're also going to have a wall. There's a giant wall down there of Maximum Ink artwork. And so we're going to have an art gallery. We're going to have free beer from Starkweather Brewing Company. We got some extra special bitter from them. It's an amazing beer. And then we're going to have some Sal's Pizza there as well for people.
What about
And
some
then
music, man? Is there going to be some Iron Plow playing?
The music is going to start at 9:30, and we're going to start with Seven Seasons Deep, legendary Madison band here, followed by Iron Plow with me on drums. And then Cold Black River they're going to be playing stuff from their brand new album that's out, and that'll take us all the way till just past midnight. So 6 p.m. to midnight, and then we're going to be actually broadcasting live from the Dark Horse from 6 to 9 p.m. So you can come down there. We're going to be interviewing people live on the radio, talking about some of the artwork and stories and different things from over the 26 years of Maximum Ink.
Wow,
That's
man,
awesome,
that's awesome.
Rocker. That's a great party. And make sure you point out you are the drummer in Iron Plow, man. You're going to be part of that big show.
You know, it's going to be a lot of fun. And my band Iron Plow we're going to be premiering some brand new songs that we have, and some of the old ones, and of course some of the songs that we play on Max Ink Radio as well. And it's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Rocker,
Nice.
I'm not trying to be your Yoko Ono, and I'm sure you and your bandmates at Iron Plow are quite happy. But I don't know if you saw, but Spinal Tap needs a new drummer.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
That could be a lethal position in a band. I mean, I've never heard of a drummer surviving that band, So
nobody gets out alive, Rocker.
That's right, man. That's right. So yeah, make sure you come down tomorrow night, 30. It's going to be a good time. Free to get in, free beer, free munchies, and music 9 to midnight.
Wow, man. Congratulations, Rocker. 26 years of doing anything is a milestone, and living that life and doing what you do, man. That's awesome, man. Congratulations to you and the team.
Thanks, Don, man. Appreciate it.
Take care, Rocker. I don't know if I can do it tomorrow, man. I've been working 8 days a week up around here, but I hear there's some free beer and
free beer and pizza. Sounds like you're kind of party.
It does, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Don't forget our big party, our first summer rager, May 17th at Hawks. So I'm looking forward to that party. We're going to do the, let me restate it, Hawks Fighter Neighborhood Bar.
Yeah, Hawks got a lot of bars, man. You gotta specify.
Gonna do the Funky Monkey, that Jade Monkey, man. That is, I hate to play favorites. It's like having a favorite kid, but the Jade Monkey is my favorite of all Hawks Fighter Neighborhood bars. And they brought the old Jade Monkey, it's like a rhinestone bliggy kind of a monkey thing, but they brought it over to the new Jade Monkey.
Yeah, of course.
Looking forward to a party on the deck.
I still kind of, I still appreciate the Atomic Koi, man. I have a spot in my heart for that joint.
The Atomic Koi and Hawks, the original, right there on State Street. So I like them all. Dom, I understand by next week it's going to be summery weather.
I don't believe it.
I mean,
don't believe it.
I heard
until it
Tuesday,
happens,
88
I don't believe
degrees. 88 degrees, brother.
What? 88? Don't lie to me, man.
Of course, when it gets that hot, thunderstorms. So you'll have that to look forward to. Severe weather of some sort.
Right, it's gonna warm up, but there's gonna be a tornado.
No, I haven't. We go from winter to tornado season immediately. And don't forget, the road construction barrels will be coming out this weekend for Mother's Day, I suspect. You doing anything for your mama on Mother's Day?
Yeah, well, I got my mother and I got my mother-in-law, so I'm gonna go hang out, do the lunch thing, and I'll head up to Apple Town and hang out with Ma for a little bit. I think.
Well, give them
in and out, a quick run.
Crudy sends his best.
Yeah, man, I'll let her know.
I'll hopefully get to see my mother-in-law and wife sometime on Sunday. I'm going to be out of town for a bit tomorrow, but maybe coming back for, the musical stylings of Iron Plow. I've been listening to a lot of Iron Plow because, if I ran the Max Sync music radio show on Saturday nights and I also played in the band Iron Plow, it'd be amazing, but I might play Iron Plow with some frequency.
Right.
And, I'm not like a super heavy metal dude, but I like them. I think they're a good band. I love the local music.
Love the metal, man. Come on, man. Drum solos. Rocker, you need at least a 3 or 4 minute drum solo. I'm telling you, take it to town, brother.
Thank you, Pat Kreitlow, for filling in for yours truly for, the 2 best hours of the show.
Come on.
Thank you, Dom. Thank you, Nancy Bryan. Thank you, Evan. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget, Native Roots Radio is next. Then In Pursuit of Sunshine on the radio comes up Friday nights right here. Devil Radio. Keep it locked all weekend long. And don't forget, Farmers Market. Go see Gordy for Mother's Day flowers.
Hi, this is Brad from Zero Res. If you need someone to help with your carpet cleaning, business or residence, please give us a call. We have the best system available and an amazing team of friendly technicians. Call us at 848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com.